Welcome back to the channel where we explore the hidden patterns of human psychology, the forces that shape behavior in ways most people never notice until the damage is done. Today we are diving deep into the mind of sociopaths, not as cinematic villains, not as sensationalized criminals, but as real psychological phenomena that operate silently around us every day. Sociopaths are often misunderstood, not always as criminals or violent individuals, but as people whose emotional wiring is fundamentally different, operating without empathy and internal moral breaks. They can understand emotions cognitively, but they do not feel them in the way most people do, which allows them to act without internal guilt, hesitation, or remorse, making their behavior highly strategic. A sociopath's charm is one of their most effective tools, as they can mirror emotions, create trust, and manipulate perception without ever experiencing genuine empathy, which often deceives even the most cautious observers. Because emotional consequences are absent, sociopaths do not learn morality in the traditional sense, meaning punishment or reasoning rarely changes their behavior permanently. Their sense of responsibility is situational. If there are consequences, they act strategically, but without emotional consequences, they feel no inherent guilt or obligation. Sociopaths rationalize their actions easily, constructing explanations that preserve self-image and control, reframing harm as necessary, victims as deserving, and consequences as unfair. Boredom drives sociopathic behavior, as ordinary experiences fail to stimulate them emotionally, leading them to seek novelty, manipulation, and control to feel engaged. Control and dominance provide stimulation, which is why sociopaths often escalate behavior over time, pushing boundaries and taking calculated risks to maintain engagement. In relationships, sociopaths often follow a predictable cycle: initial charm and intense attention, followed by subtle boundary testing, and eventual devaluation once access and trust are secured. Gaslighting is common. Reality is questioned. Memories are challenged and confidence is undermined, creating confusion and self-doubt in the target. In professional settings, sociopaths may manipulate subtly, taking credit for others' work, withholding information, and creating competition among colleagues while presenting competence and charm to superiors. Fragmentation of perception protects them, as no single person sees the whole picture, delaying accountability and allowing manipulation to continue undetected. Sociopaths rarely experience emotional collapse when consequences arise. They pivot, deflect, or move on with minimal disruption, as attachments are utility-based rather than emotional. Victims often experience shock when realizing the one-sided nature of the relationship, as pain and investment were never reciprocated. Understanding these patterns is liberating, removing self-blame and clarifying why logic, empathy, and communication often fail with sociopaths. Change is only possible through boundaries, consequences, and removal of access, not through love, patience, or emotional appeals. Awareness and recognition provide clarity, allowing individuals to regain control and protect themselves in social, personal, and professional contexts. Sociopaths are highly observant, constantly testing limits, adjusting behavior, and maintaining control without emotional cost, which makes early recognition essential for protection. Their ability to lie without stress, manipulate perception, and maintain composure allows them to operate in complex social structures without detection for long periods. In romantic relationships, sociopaths often idealize partners initially, creating rapid closeness only to manipulate, devalue, and control once emotional trust is established. Escalation is gradual. What begins as subtle lies and minor boundary violations intensifies over time, as boredom and the need for stimulation drive increasingly sophisticated manipulation. Victims often report confusion and gradual emotional erosion, as the sociopath strategies are designed to undermine perception while maintaining outward charm. Gaslighting operates functionally. The sociopath questions reality to maintain dominance and control, not necessarily out of cruelty, but because perception equates to influence. In professional environments, the same dynamics manifest differently, with manipulation disguised as competence, charm, and cooperation, producing a fragmented and competitive environment. This allows sociopaths to maintain influence while avoiding accountability, as peers only experience isolated aspects of their behavior, Boredom, control, and manipulation are linked. Sociopaths constantly seek novelty and stimulation through strategic interaction, escalation, and testing the limits of others' tolerance. Recognition is critical. Understanding these patterns early allows individuals to set boundaries and disengage, preventing prolonged emotional harm. Boundaries must be consistent and enforced, as sociopaths only respond to external consequences, not internal moral or emotional appeals. Professional recognition involves observing manipulation, information control, subtle undermining, and relational isolation, which reveal patterns of dominance and strategic control. Sociopaths calculate risk and reward, adjusting behavior to maintain advantage, influence, or control, and these patterns can be predicted with careful observation. Knowledge and awareness provide empowerment, enabling individuals to protect themselves while interacting without emotional compromise. Sociopathy is not defined by violence or chaos, but by emotional absence, strategic thinking, and the ability to exploit assumptions of empathy. Understanding these traits allows individuals to interpret behavior, anticipate outcomes, and avoid common traps of misplaced trust or emotional expectation. Patterns of manipulation and control become predictable once analyzed through the lens of transactional evaluation, offering clarity and preventing confusion. Boundaries, strategic disengagement, and awareness transform interactions, allowing autonomy, emotional preservation, and protection from exploitation. Recognition, observation, and strategic action minimize the duration and severity of harmful interactions and provide a practical framework for safety and clarity. This understanding is not meant to create fear, but to cultivate insight, resilience, and the ability to navigate relationships safely. Sociopaths operate with calculation, imitation, and utility, which requires strategic distancing and pattern recognition for effective self-protection. Early recognition of cycles of idealization, manipulation, and devaluation is critical to minimize emotional cost and maintain clarity in interactions. Boundaries protect against manipulation, disengagement prevents exploitation, and awareness ensures emotional energy is preserved for meaningful relationships. Sociopaths respond to consequences, not appeals, making consistent enforcement of rules and limits essential to maintain control and safety. The ability to imitate and manipulate without emotional cost is structural. It cannot be changed by empathy or persuasion, only understood and managed strategically. Applying this knowledge allows individuals to identify warning signs, maintain autonomy, and protect social and emotional resources from subtle exploitation. Awareness restores agency, prevents prolonged harm, and allows people to navigate environments with clarity and confidence. Sociopathy teaches the importance of observation, pattern recognition, and strategic interaction in all areas of life, from personal relationships to professional dynamics. Clarity replaces uncertainty, strategic boundaries replace vulnerability, and observation allows individuals to predict and respond effectively to manipulation. Education and understanding transform potential exploitation into manageable, controlled interactions, preserving mental and emotional stability. Patterns of control, manipulation, and escalation become comprehensible, predictable, and manageable once observed and interpreted correctly. Strategic awareness empowers individuals to navigate interactions without emotional compromise, maintaining clarity and protecting themselves from harm. Sociopaths' lack of empathy requires awareness and strategy to prevent emotional and psychological exploitation, making knowledge the most effective tool for protection. Understanding their behavior allows individuals to reclaim agency, set boundaries, and interact safely in environments where sociopaths operate without emotional constraint. This insight transforms confusion into clarity, self-doubt into empowerment, and emotional drain into strategic awareness and preservation. Patterns of manipulation and dominance can be anticipated, understood, and managed when observed through the lens of sociopathy, turning unpredictable interactions into structured, predictable scenarios. Boundaries, awareness, and observation are essential tools to navigate interactions, protect oneself, and preserve autonomy when dealing with sociopathic behavior. Understanding the mind of a sociopath equips individuals to act decisively, recognize exploitation early, and protect themselves and their emotional resources effectively. Clarity, strategic disengagement, and pattern recognition replace emotional confusion, self-blame, and vulnerability with empowerment, control, and informed decision-making. By internalizing these principles, people can navigate relationships, workplaces, and social environments safely, protecting themselves from manipulation, emotional exploitation, and confusion. Knowledge and application of these insights turn potential vulnerability into predictable, manageable, and controlled interactions where autonomy and clarity are maintained. Sociopaths operate structurally without empathy, and understanding this structure allows individuals to interpret behaviors accurately, protect themselves effectively, and maintain emotional stability. Awareness, observation, and enforcement of boundaries are the keys to navigating interactions with sociopaths without falling victim to manipulation, exploitation, or emotional drain. Recognition transforms confusion into empowerment, providing tools to disengage strategically and protect emotional, social, and professional resources. Patterns of charm, manipulation, escalation, and abandonment are predictable, and understanding these cycles allows individuals to anticipate behavior and act proactively to maintain clarity. Strategic boundaries, consistent consequences, and careful observation ensure that sociopaths cannot exploit assumptions of empathy or social compliance. Knowledge is protection. Understanding behavior is prevention, and pattern recognition allows individuals to reclaim agency and safeguard emotional health. Interactions that might otherwise be confusing or draining become predictable and manageable once the structure and strategies of sociopathy are understood. Sociopathy is a psychological wiring, not a moral failing, and awareness equips individuals to navigate life safely, prevent exploitation, and maintain clarity in all interactions. Ultimately, understanding sociopaths empowers victims, colleagues, and observers to engage strategically, preserve autonomy, and act decisively in protecting themselves and their emotional well-being. If you want to see more such video, subscribe to our channel. More videos are waiting for you in future. See you then.